with you.
All right, well, here we go. So, welcome back to another Wisco Fanatics Tuesday evening. All of our Packers shows are live on Tuesdays this year to give people a chance to watch throughout the week and be able to catch the show if they can't watch it live, but to still have an opportunity. As you can see, a little red in the face because I was personally in attendance for the Packers win over the Colts on Sunday. Second hottest game ever at Lambeau, but a lot of things to talk about, so we're going to get through it all.
Welcome to another live episode of the Wisco Fanatics Show, where we discuss the Packers, Bucks, Brewers, Badgers football, and basketball from an optimistic perspective. Wisco Fanatics is brought to you by Cardboard Legacy, Wisconsin's most complete sports card shop. Buy, sell, grade, and consign all at their location in Oshkosh.
All right, so very, very hot game at Lambeau. Two teams coming in with a fair amount of question marks. Definitely some things going on with the Packers, including having the second game of the year with the new defensive coordinator. So we're going to jump in, and Simon's going to start with the defensive scheme.
Yeah, unfortunately, I was sick all day yesterday, so I didn't get to rewatch the game and really follow up more on the scheme, what the scheme was doing. But I really just want to, highlight what an opportunistic defense this is. The Packers are second in turnovers in the league right now, only behind Pittsburgh. And I want to say the other I've kind of been harping on the last couple weeks with these quarterbacks that can really run is I think the edge rushers, even though we only have 3 sacks on the year, which isn't a lot, we've done a good job of containing the quarterbacks from running. Together, they only had 70 yards, and that's not a lot for two of the best rushing quarterbacks in the league. And so to get them contained without breaking contain, the edges getting too far up the field, and the interior guys not allowing those easy passing lanes on the inside, I just want to call out what I thought has been a pretty good scheme so far.
Yeah, I mean, look at what Hurts did on Monday night. He ran all over the Falcons. So,
yeah, for sure. Jake, so in that same vein, talk about what that does to the pass rush.
Yeah, so like Simon was saying, the sack numbers are not there, but the rushing numbers for the quarterback are not there as well. The Packers did end up getting a sack. It was Devontae Wyatt. Very impressive move by him, by the way. He got in there very fast. Nice little swim move. Made that offensive lineman look like he wasn't even there, honestly. It was like a magic move. Here we go. And hits on the quarterback, Wyatt and McDuffie. We had 2 of them, and we had 8 hurries. So that's a thing. Hurries and pressures kind of go hand in hand, in my opinion. And the hurries is a big stat for me as well. They were able to put some pressure on Richardson, force him to make some plays before he wanted to. In terms of hurries, the 8 hurries, Clark had 3 of them. Wyatt had 2. Van Ness, Walker, and Smith rounded out, but they both had all 3 of those guys had 1. And I know a lot of people are, we've obviously seen it. People are concerned about the sack numbers, and that's really the number one people equate to pass rush. But there's much more that goes into it. If I had to pick an individual that stood out to me in terms of pass rush, I actually thought of 2 people. Devontae Wyatt was very impressive. He's having a very good first 2 games of the season, and I thought Preston Smith was the best at the contain. He plays on the strong side of Richardson, so for him to hold him accountable on that side, on his throwing side, I thought that was impressive.
Yeah. So looking at Jake, you already mentioned the only sack came from Devontae Wyatt. Now, the defense as a whole, or the defensive line as a whole, it was really more about contain, and that's really where they're at. And that's where it is. I understand that people want to see more pass rush, more sacks. And Jake, I strongly agree with you that people equate sacks to pass rush, but there is a lot to be said about just maintaining a contain, and not allowing guys like Anthony Richardson and Jalen Hurts to escape and then get and chew up big chunks, especially if those 3 or 4 or sometimes 5 the guys that they're rushing are able to get pressure without having to bring extra pass rushers. And that's one of the things, if you go back and you watch the last play of the game, the Hail Mary, the Packers actually brought 5. It wasn't a 3-man rush like you've seen a lot of times previous years. They blitzed 5. They sent 5 guys at the quarterback, so they didn't let the 5 offensive linemen block 3 guys and let the quarterback have a nice, clean, tidy pocket and a fresh, set of grass for him to throw off of and, get his whole arm and whole body into the throw. Anthony Richardson had to kind of try to fling it, and it ended up about 10 yards short of the end zone. So the defensive line, I think, is still progressing, and we haven't seen what they're fully going to do yet, just because of the nature of the 2 quarterbacks that they've played. So, Bryant, what did you think about the linebackers and the tackling?
Yeah, honestly, I thought the linebackers kind of had a rough game, to be honest. I thought they didn't do the defensive line, who I thought was doing a pretty good job, any favors. There's a couple times that you see Quay or Cooper or someone kind of washed out or turned around on the play. Quay got stiff-armed. I mean, on top of that, he dropped that interception that hit him right in the face. Unfortunately, that could have kind of saved it. Not a super strong day for him. I'll say Eric Wilson, man. Holy cow. What a stud. That interception on that play, it was like he was running the route, and then to catch the ball like that, you don't see a lot of linebackers. That's a really good slot receiver catching the ball like that. You don't see a lot of linebackers make a catch like that. But a great hands catch with a guy on his back in that situation was a huge interception. But for the main part, most of the time it was Quay and McDuffie on the field, and I thought they kind of had a rough game. McDuffie's had a rough start in coverage on the year. He's bottom 5 in the league and among linebackers with yards given up and everything in coverage and passes completed against him. Quay, like I said, the dropped interception. Then I thought he could stiff armed into oblivion by Jonathan Taylor. But when Jonathan Taylor only gets 12 carries but goes for 103 yards, a lot of it, if you go back and watch, it was a lot of the times is the linebacker just not making the play, kind of in the second level right there, from my opinion. So I know I use PFF numbers because, I don't have a grading system. I'm not Andy Herman or anyone in here, so I just use PFF grades. The thing that concerns me a little bit is the couple games now in a row that we haven't been super impressed with McDuffie or Quay. Both of them, if you look at PFF's numbers, are grading in the 40s, which is pretty low. However, with much fewer snaps, Wilson had a 99 point something grade this last game, which is insane. You don't see that very often, but he's at 95 for the season in the 16, 17 snaps he's played. And then Cooper's at 78. So, like I said, Cooper, I don't think had a huge game, but Wilson, for his few snaps to have that pick and then a tackle for loss and a forced fumble, I just feel like he needs to be on the field a little more. And I think some of these snaps, I don't think you take Quay off the field because he's explosive and we're hoping he figures it out and he comes downhill a little more. You've seen him too many times just kind of standing and waiting in the hole instead of just hitting it. He needs to come downhill and hit the running backs. I feel like maybe he's not trusting himself. He's making the right decision, but he's just not trusting himself to get downhill. And then he's kind of flat-footed and he gets beat. So I do think McDuffie needs to lose a few snaps. In my opinion, we'll see what happens.
Andrew said, shout out to the Packers defense for helping me cover the under on my over-under. Yeah, that'll do. A lot of running to be expected in that game. I'll help the clock move a little bit faster. But Jake, how did the Packers defense do on 3rd and 4th down?
Oh, they were something else, man. I got to tell you. So 3rd downs, the Colts only had 9 3rd down attempts. First of all, you just hear that. That's impressive in its own right. And then to only allow them to convert 2 of them. And then when you hear one of them that they converted, which was one of the last possessions of the game, is crazy. So they had 3 3rd down conversions, 1 to 3 yards. They had no 3rd down conversions of 4 to 7 yards. And then they had 1 3rd down conversion of 8 and up. So they literally were either 1 to 3 yards from a first down or 8 yards and up from first down. That's dominance. The Packers defense dominated this game. Now, people are going to come away from this game and be like, man, the run game was so good. The run game was so good. The Packers defense was putting the clamps down, dude. They were impressive. There was some clips that I saw after this game where I was like, dude, the DBs are just passing these guys off. It's just aesthetically pleasing watching some of this stuff. So here's the thing that I wanted to tell you. They had 1 4th down conversion, and one of the third downs that they picked up was a 21-yard run while the Packers were running prevent defense towards the end of the game. So think about that.
Richardson scrambled for?
What's that?
Is that the one that Richardson scrambled for?
Yeah, that was a 21-yard run that he scrambled for. That's one of their third down conversions that they had during this game. That's insane to think about. They had one third down the entire game, if you really think about it, other than the prevent defense. So the person I wanted to give credit to for the third down defense was Jeff Hafley. He had an outstanding game plan for this game, for this quarterback, for this offense. You got to take away the big plays. I talked about that last week. That was what they lived and died on. They're almost like a team in the NBA that lives on three-point shooting, and that's the big plays for them is they like to take big, deep shots and live off of Anthony Richardson's like ultra crazy athleticism and his arm. Hafley did a fantastic job putting the guys in the right place, so good job by them.
For sure. Simon, what do you think about the secondary?
Yeah, another week, another Xavier McKinney pick. I'll take those all day. He's looked absolutely good. Absolutely good so far. Everything that Packers fans hoped for. Didn't allow receptions this week. I'd like to call out that I called the Evan Williams pick on the final drive in the back chat before it happened. Ask your friends. He allowed one reception that went for 30 yards. I think Nixon's a little pedestrian coverage, 5 for 9 for 34 yards. Valentine had 2 for 3 for 25 yards, 11 yards of that react. Jair 1 for 3 for 18 yards. I thought Javon Bullard played a pretty good game too, not allowing reception and coverage either. And he had the best coverage game out of anyone in the secondary too. I think he's playing some really good ball for a rookie.
Let me jump in here real quick. The Evan Williams completion that he gave up, he actually got coached up by McKinney immediately after the play. I was at the game on the complete opposite side of Tyler. I feel bad when I found out where Tyler was sitting because he was in the sun the whole game. Midway through like the second quarter, I got some shade and I was like, oh my God, I don't feel like a rotisserie chicken anymore. Thank God. But Evan Williams was actually back and he was running up to the line as Anthony Richardson called hike, and then he was already a step behind the receiver and ended up being Mitchell, who is insanely fast. And Richardson made a good throw. But other than that, I thought Evan Williams was fantastic on Sunday.
Yeah, and I'm going to wait until Bryant has his segment in a little bit, but I want to talk more about Evan Williams. But Jake, how did the defense do in the red zone?
Well, so I talked about how impressive it is that the Colts only had 9 third downs. How about only having 2 red zone possessions? That's crazy stuff right there. The first one, you started at 2nd and 5 at the 16. They tackled Taylor for -3 yards. That was a big-time play by Van Ness as the Colts were just driving down the field, and the defense needed somebody to make a play, and Van Ness made a big play, making them go -3. Putting them into a 3rd and long situation. They have a 3rd and 8 at the 19, Richardson. And this is one of those plays where I ended up seeing where the DBs were just on the same page. They were sharing one brain on this play. And they're just flowing, passing the receiver. Okay, he's in your zone. I got this guy. The communication is absolutely outstanding on this play. They hold the Colts to a field goal. That was their first 3 points of the game. And the person I got to give credit to, and I'm going to talk about the next possession in the red zone in a second here, but the person I have to give credit to for the red zone defense is McKinney. And you could see his impact all over the field, but especially on this last drive, which I'm going to get into, McKinney is literally barking orders at every single person on the field. And then from there, it's working its way down. McKinney is up there, and he's like, hey, Quay, check here, check here. He's talking to the young guys, telling them to go up. He's talking to Stokes, say, you move back, you go over here. And he is just directing traffic, and it was just impressive to see, honestly. And you could tell the difference that he's made on this team. It's incredible. I was just like, dude, I got to buy this guy's jersey, dude. I got to buy his rookie card. Like, this guy's everything. He's the man. But then you get into the second possession here. They had 1st and goal at the 14, Richardson incomplete pass. You get 2nd and 10 at the 14, Richardson incomplete pass. And that second and 10 at the 14, If you go back and watch that, McKinney was directing traffic on that one too. He was, oh my God, he's top tier, dude. Tyler might have hit the nail on the head when he called for all pro. I'm being so serious right now. 3rd and 10 at the 14. They just run the ball with Sermon, get 4 yards. I look over at my buddy Alex, who I was sitting at the game with, and I was like, that was we're going for it on 4th down no matter fucking what. There was a 2-minute warning after that. After coming out of the 2-minute warning, they had a false start on Quentin Nelson. Then you back it up the 4th and 11. That's the 4th down they picked up because Richardson is gigantic and reached for the 1st down. After that, you get the 1st and goal at the 4-yard line, and Richardson finds Pierce. Now, I have to have a discussion because some people don't understand football, and that's what we're here for, right? People are really bitching at Keyshawn Nixon for giving up that touchdown. In Keyshawn Nixon's mind, he's thinking that Jair is behind him and is going to take that outside, and he has to protect the goal line.
From Anthony Richardson.
From Anthony Richardson, who was rolling out of the pocket. So really, Nixon got put in a bad spot, and it looks bad on him in a certain way, but I don't think any of that was Nixon's fault. Now, maybe he needs to communicate that, and that's something that him and Jair can fix together. Mm-hmm. But Jair should have stayed outside and allowed the safeties and all the other traffic in the middle to pick up that receiver in the middle of the field. That's just my opinion on it.
Can I throw something out on that specific play as well?
Yeah, what's up?
The Colts are doing that on purpose.
Right.
They're trying to put a DB, a linebacker, it doesn't matter, in a 1-on-2 situation where either Richardson can throw the ball over them or Richardson can just run to the pylon, the sticks, whatever it may be. So the Colts are doing that intentionally. So that's partially a good play design by the Colts as well.
Yeah, I mean, Keyshawn Nixon,
devil's advocate on it. But because I wish Keyshawn would have kind of recognized quicker that a linebacker was kind of coming over and at least would have challenged Richardson for trying to get to the goal line there, and it could have played a little deeper and maybe realized once he's running to come up and really lay a hit on him. That's what I thought could have happened, but it happened so quick he might not have seen the linebacker coming over. I can't remember if it was Quay or McDuffie, but so.
Okay, I'm going to combat what you just said. The play before that was a Richardson 11-yard run. You know who was too slow to catch Richardson on that 4th down? It was Quay Walker.
Quay Walker.
And you know who was chasing him on that 1st and 10? That 1st and goal? It was Quay Walker, who was literally just too slow to catch him for 11 yards. You think he was catching him at 4 yards? He had a bad angle.
But I don't know.
Nixon was in a bad spot. It was a good play call by the Colts. Yeah. Literally, if Richardson wanted to, he could have just ran over Nixon.
Yeah, I'd have to go back. I didn't pay attention to what Jair was doing. And if that's so, Jair should have probably known with Richardson rolling out. Let him throw it all the way across his body into the middle of the field. If he wants to go help out, go follow Alec where he wants to go. And then that Keyshawn isn't in that position.
Yeah,
Jair was carrying the wide receiver towards like the goal post.
Yeah.
So like I don't necessarily think it was like a bad judgment call by Jair because he was carrying the wide receiver. I think I agree with what you said that you can kind of pass that off as opposed to letting the guy run parallel with Richardson. Right. So I do agree with that part of it, and make Richardson try to throw the ball back across the field. So I agree with that part of it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we're nitpicking at that point. We give up 10 points.
So, there's a good play call by them. It's hard to beat that.
I mean, my thing was with the defense is like we held the Colts to 3 points for 58 minutes.
Yep.
Okay.
I hate the fact that they had a chance to get back in the game, but that's not on the defense. That was on the offense a little bit with some mistakes.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I think I said this. I don't know, maybe in one of the graphics that I made or something, but this game was much more, much closer to being like 26-10 than it was to feeling like a one-score game, like the final score suggested.
Yep, I agree.
Okay. Jake, anything else you wanted to say on Red Zone?
No, they were fantastic.
Let's go to special teams. Bryant, how you feeling on special teams?
Still kind of a lot of the same. I'm not super happy, but happy because of one player for sure. We didn't get to see any returns again. I don't know if the NFL. I keep seeing everyone. Well, move it up to the 35, make them kick it to you. Why would you do that? Why not just move the kicker back 5 yards instead of? Then if you know what I mean, that I feel like that's a better solution. We don't want to be giving people the ball at the 35-yard line, and then you have Harrison Butker where you make 15 yards and you're kicking a field goal to win the game. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that I don't agree with. I think they should just move the kicker further back. I don't know why no one's talking about that, but here's an epiphany, NFL. If you listen to our show, and maybe just move the kicker back instead of taking out to the 35. Goddamn. But Narveson, I think he's. I know. Goody's like, I need to have patience. I feel like this dude's on the hot seat probably already with 2 missed kicks. We'll see what's going to happen. There's 3 kickers in the NFL that have multiple misses. One of them got cut after week 1, and the other one's Justin Tucker, and he's not going anywhere. And if they cut him, please come to Green Bay. But so Narveson, and I don't feel good about any. It's just hard when you watch like Kyron Fairburn just like
nail 50-yard field goals.
50-yard field goals.
I think he has 5 already this year.
5 or 6 on the season. He's got more. I'm pretty sure he's got the same amount of 50-yard field goals as Narveson has makes. So, and when you see Narveson kick, it's always hugging the like goalpost. There's a couple kicks is like if that was 5 yards longer or 3 yards longer, it probably wouldn't have went in. So I'm hoping he's just getting. I know he's a rookie. He's got a huge leg. The distance isn't the issue. It's the accuracy. That's the same thing that was happening with Carlson. So I think we got away with it this week where. We missed a kick and we still won a game. Last week I said you can't leave points on the boards. We left 10 points on the board, 3 of them because of Narveson. So he needs to make those kicks. But Whelan, I mean, holy cow, what a great game. I think he had a 59-yard punt, and then here Tyler has a video of it. I love how short his kick is. It looks like he's not putting any power on the thing, and then they're like. Oh, well, on the broadcast, they said 66-yard punt. I was like, no way. It ended up being
way longer because he kicked that from about the 13-yard line, and it goes to about the 16. That's more like a 70-yard punt.
Well, I think he ended up getting from where he kicked it, yes. From
where he kicked it, not where the line of scrimmage was.
Not where the line of scrimmage is, yes. That's what I'm saying from where he kicked it.
Yeah,
where he kicked it, though.
Yeah. So that's a net 59-yard punt. I heard Pat McAfee. I don't know if you watched that show. He was pumping him up or whatever of Whelan up. And then he said the reason why he can kick that well in Lambeau is the way he kicks. I guess he puts a lot. It's like a pass. It's like a spiral. Did you guys see that at all? Or were you paying attention to that? Okay.
I didn't see that.
It's hard to see that on the TV because we can't see the ball for most of it. But you don't see a 59-yard punt fair caught very often. And that's what he did. And then to top that off, there's one punt where he had it to, he got the kickback on it to where it didn't go in the end zone. And then there's the other one right here. Huge play in the game right here to pin them at the 5-yard line, with no timeouts left. I said this kind of pregame. I thought the Colts made a big mistake doing the onside kick. If I'm them, they know that we're running 3 times. They've had stopped our run the entire second half. I kick it deep. So then when he's punting from his own 20, not his own 40. You know what I mean? He has a big enough leg to kick it, but this let him pin him way deep back. So that was kind of a gift to us, but great execution, great job by him, and good job by the Gunners to get down there quick enough to where the guy felt like he had to catch the ball. And instead of so many times you let him see, I'm sure his coach told him, dude, whether they stop it at the 1 or 2 right there, you got to let that go and hope that it kicks forward and goes in the end zone. We can't take that ball right there. But he put the pressure on and had 3 punts and all of them were inside the 20. So great job by him.
So a couple of things.
That is kind of an interesting conversation to have, though, is like, because it's about a 5% chance you get an onside kick back. You're not risking that to get back, 20-ish yards?
20, 25 yards. I don't think so because they just don't happen. You know what I mean?
Because if they get it back, then they're at the 50 or so.
Yeah. So, but if he punts from his own 20 and he kicks it 50 yards, you're already at the 30. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's an interesting conversation, but I just don't feel like the chance to recover onside kicks. Like I think
someone, like I was telling you guys before, like someone did it this last week where instead of going for the onside kick with I think just over 2 minutes left, they just kicked it deep and hope they got it back in good field position.
Yeah, and the 5% you're quoting is probably are from last year when there was probably some surprise ones and stuff too that ended up getting recovered. Now this year you have to say, "Hey, I'm kicking it onside."
And that was the other thing too is like now and since you have to kick it, where you have to do an onside kick rather than
kicking deep.
Most people, kicking deep, so you can just bring that extra guy forward too.
Yep. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what those numbers are. But for me, I was happy they did it. Well, at first I was like, we all have some PTSD from onside kicks. But like, I'm like, okay, we covered it. That was good for us because now even after we run it 3 times, I don't know that we'll make the first down. But when he punts, I trusted our punter to pin him inside the 20 for sure, and then he pins him at the 5.
So a couple things on the special teams. I have thoughts. One, Andrew asked, who would we get instead at kicker? I have to go back and find the guy that I liked from the XFL because that's where we're at. I mean, otherwise we're scraping the absolute bottom of the barrel.
The only thing you can look at
is already scraped Greg Joseph off the bottom of the barrel, and we'd have to go deeper than that.
Yeah. He's in Detroit now.
Yeah, he's
in New York now. The Giants signed him because Graham Gano got hurt.
Yep, he signed with the Giants today.
Today? Oh, I missed that. I didn't see that. Okay.
I would say you probably can't do anything right now. The chance you would have is if there's a team that has a really good kicker but they're just absolute cheeks, then maybe by week 6 they'll be willing to trade their kicker for some capital.
Like cheeks on your face, he means.
Like, I wonder does Carolina have a good kicker? Because they could probably just give up right now.
No, they're starting the red rifle, dude.
It's their first overall pick quarterback. So,
okay. So the other 2 things that I had on the special teams, obviously with the punting, I'm glad you brought up the gunners. I just wanted to give Bo Melton and Corey Ballantyne credit for their gunning. They're absolutely a factor in those fair catches. And that's not even to say like if the one at the end of the game, if the returner lets the ball bounce, there's nothing to say that one of those 2 doesn't catch it or get the bounce and down it inside the 5, even where he fair caught it.
Yeah.
Because they're getting down there so quickly. The other thing is on the onside kick, I need to have this credit given to Evan Williams.
Yeah.
Because Evan Williams runs up on the onside kick when it doesn't go the 10 yards because he can grab it and know that he's not going to get hit because if he does, it's going to be a penalty. And he knows that the Colts can't touch the ball either. Only the Packers can within that first 10 yards, or it's going to be a penalty. So I wanted to shout out Evan Williams for having the awareness to run up inside that 10 yards and just grab the ball. That was a very smart play by him.
Another one I didn't think of too is Jaden Reed had a good one where he was pretend like he was going to catch it, but then went to block and let it bounce into the end zone because it was a pretty good kick and it hit on at the 6 or 7, and then it bounced into the end zone. So it was good on him.
Yeah. Okay, so on to the coaching part of this game. Now, this is another one of those things where, like Jake was just saying about people not understanding football, is Matt LaFleur was conservative. Yeah. The replacement quarterback got here 3 weeks ago. Literally 3 weeks ago. Not expected to be in this position. Obviously, with Jordan Love being paid at the beginning of the season, it's okay. Jordan Love's the future. And then he gets hurt, and now you are thrust into a situation with a guy who's been here for 2 weeks, and you are preparing him 3 weeks after he gets here to be a starting quarterback. So, yes, he's going to be conservative. Also, it's not like Malik Willis is a journeyman who's been around the league for a long time and has played with, like 4 or 5 different teams, and he's been exposed to different play styles and stuff. He's in his, 3rd year in the league?
Mm-hmm.
So, not like he has a ton of experience. This was his 4th career start, I believe. And that's where we're at. End of the first half. Now, yes, this was a conservative thing to not go for points. And I particularly wasn't a fan of it. But even not being a fan of not trying for points, I can understand why they weren't trying for points at the end of that half. Because, sure, if you break off a run and you get a first down, then maybe you start burning timeouts. But, continuing with the game plan of running the football, I'm glad they didn't just say okay, we got them down 10-0. Let's go for a kill shot at the end of the first half. When that can also turn into a bigger problem of potentially a turnover, points for the Colts, and they start the ball at the second half. So yes, it's conservative and it's not sexy to not go for points when you have 1:40 and 3 timeouts to go. But again, situation, backup quarterback, very limited experience, been here for 3 weeks. The other team has a dude with a rocket arm and a bunch of athletes.
Yeah.
So you're a big baller for a head coach.
Yeah, I can't believe that's the conversation. I could not have cared less if we won 2-0. The fact that we won a game without our starting quarterback and hopefully have a chance to win another one this week if he doesn't play and keep us in the, if we would fall into, even if we say we were to lose this one, knock on wood, right, and we fall to 1-2, but then Jordan can come back against the Vikings. We brought him back with a okay situation, same situation we were in last year, probably. I'm pretty sure right around that record. Well, we won the first two, but you know what I'm saying. I think we fell to 3-6, but
we didn't win the first two. We lost to Atlanta in week 2. Remember?
And then we won versus Saints in week 3.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I got those games flipped up.
They were like, were they 2-5 at any point last year?
Yeah,
we were like 3-6. But the point is that. Yeah. I don't care if we win 2-0. The fact that we can get a win without Jordan Love is impressive, and I'm happy that happened. And I thought it was a fantastic job of coaching, absolutely masterpiece, in my opinion.
Yep, and I'm glad that there's starting to be more media outlets that are putting this out there. That saying that Matt LaFleur is a top 5 coach because of the game plan that he put together. And I have a bunch of plays that I have clipped that I just need to get edited so that we can make some breakdowns of them. And I'll throw one out there as an example that we've like co-signed on this show before is the QB school. Talking about Matt LaFleur being in his bag, he absolutely was. Matt LaFleur was absolutely in his bag offensively with the play calling and the play design, and we will definitely have some play breakdowns of that coming out this week.
The only thing I would even say maybe he does a little bit different maybe this game, I don't feel like he thought that the Colts could score on them, but when you're really starting to get bottled up in the run, they adjusted after half. I thought you could have taken a couple shots at that point and probably completed some of them because they were stacking the box and there were several deep crossers that you see Watson and other people come open. But I'm fine with it. Like he knew what he needed to do to win that game, and that's what he did. They shortened it. They way compressed that game.
Yeah. And I think also in this conservative play calling, not a secret if you've watched our show before that I'm a big fan of play action, as is Jake. We love watching play action. And we'll talk about Malik Willis and stuff as we get into the preview for next week. But there's really nothing I can complain about with any of the coaching. And Bryant just pointed out, too, that the Packers won time of possession 40-20. The Colts literally got doubled up in time of possession.
Back-to-back weeks, by the way.
Yeah.
I called that out last week. You're welcome.
So, and then same with Jeff Hafley. As far as coaching goes, I have zero complaints. As far as the scheme goes, and Simon kind of touched on this a little bit already, but there are trade-offs to every single type of defense you play. And we know this, having watched the Joe Barry style of defense, the bend, don't break style, where you can let teams dink and dunk down the field and you can run a 3-4 that lets people run over you like consistently. Or now we have the Jeff Hafley style, which 2 games in has, yes, allowed some big plays. It has. But when you are playing aggressive, that is also what is helping you create opportunities to make turnovers. But that is what happens. If you are going to play aggressive and hope to generate turnovers, the trade-off is you are occasionally going to allow a big play. That's just how it works. It's just the nature of the NFL. Mm-hmm. It's not even just like there's something wrong with the scheme that you can't stop big plays. It's just with how good NFL offenses are, they're going to figure out some big plays against your aggressive defense if that's the style you're playing. So that's just the trade-offs that there are. Every single style of defense has them. Okay. Moving into the offense, Simon, what did you think of the tight ends?
Yeah, this week was much more close on snap count between Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgrave, but Kraft still outsnapping him 56-31. Obviously, with the limited passing game by Malik Willis, due to game plan stuff, we didn't see a lot of passing volume between these two, but they had 3 targets, 3 catches for 22 yards. Kraft had 16 of those, and Musgrave having 6. None of them had any pass protection snaps, so when they were out in the field during a passing play, they were just running routes. But I believe that Kraft showed a lot of grit in the run game and really helping the offensive line open up those holes. I'll get in the run game here whenever we get there, but he was an instrumental part of it.
For sure. Brian, what did you think about the wide receivers?
Yeah, it echoes kind of a lot what Simon was just saying. They weren't asked to do a whole lot this game. I will say I thought, Dontavian had a nice bounce back game with that catch along the sidelines and that touchdown. He had the one that got knocked away from him, but that is not a drop. That was a great play by the cornerback to rake it out of his hands there along the sidelines. But he did have that big first down conversion on that final drive when we were killing more time too. So kind of toe tap. So good job by him. Jaden Reed, I think what I called it last week, I said I think we'll see him in the backfield. He was in the backfield a lot. And his versatility is just an absolute weapon. He is definitely one of you pointed out Debo Light or whatever last week, but I think that's a good kind of comparison for him. I know, well, that was Ryan, but Jake said Percy Harvin, whatever. Either way, great versatile tool. I want to give credit to Christian Watson. He didn't get targeted this game, but there was several times he had huge blocks. Coming down to the goal line, there was one time, he was open on a crosser. Malik could have hit him, but he sees that Malik's just going to run it. What does he do? A lot of wide receivers would be, start pouting or something. Look at DJ Moore for the Bears, whining on the bench the whole game, or end the second half of the game or whatever, just whining. We have Christian Watson who's blocking someone halfway through the end zone on a running play for the quarterback.
Yep.
And then he's blocking other people. To edit. Huge props to Christian Watson for knowing that he wasn't going to be a big part of this game. He was definitely open. If Jordan Love was in this game, I think he would have shredded the secondary for one. If he was healthy, that would have been a blowout. We would have beat him by 21 because there were so many deep crossers and stuff that I was watching that our wide receivers running open, but Malik just didn't feel confident enough to throw those yet. Or was probably asked, to just be pretty conservative, and that's fine. But overall, I do think that we'll have to throw the ball. If it's Malik this week, we're going to have to throw the ball more because, not to get too much into it, but the Titans are a much better defense than the Colts, in my opinion. So,
yeah. So looking at the passing game distribution as far as the wide receivers and the tight ends are concerned, because there were no targets to the running backs, but 6 players targeted on 14 pass attempts is still good distribution, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking 14 pass attempts to 6 different players is still good. And you look at it, he was 1 for 1 on 20 plus throws. He was 1 for 2 from 10 to 19 yards, 5 for 5 from 0 to 10, and 5 for 5 behind the line of scrimmage. He had 1 throwaway that was later in the game when he was under some pressure. But overall, I mean, the distribution as far as Malik Willis goes, and we'll talk a little bit more about him as we transition into the preview, but the distribution of targets did not change as far as Jordan Love to Malik Willis. It's just the amount of pass attempts. So I think if Malik Willis throws the amount of passes that Jordan Love does in a game, I think these 7 or more players targeted, I think that trend continues. I just think
the 7th player had puke on the ball, in my opinion.
Yeah, that probably changes things as well. So, speaking of puking on the ball, Simon, how did the offensive line look?
That's mine.
That's Brian's.
Oh, my bad. Simon had a line last year, I think. That's why I was thinking that. Go ahead.
I'm not even getting to the PFF grades or anything for these guys. That was a hell of a gutty performance. You literally had 3 of them puke. I want to give props to Myers. He literally pukes and snaps the ball within like a half a second to not lose his focus.
He held his block. He had a good block on that play.
To not lose his focus in that moment. I'm like, what the heck just happened, dude? Just pukes, snaps, and blocks. I'm like,
puke and rally.
Simon's talking about live, laugh, and love in the chat, in the back chat, but he's this dude pukes, snaps, and blocks. I mean, like, that was nuts. It was so bizarre.
We ran Everybody's been waiting for us to talk about it.
You're welcome.
We ran, and I love the answer from LaFleur, and I'm sure Malik was like, what the hell? I think he did. That was one of the plays. I think I said that he had a crosser open. I think that was one of the plays, actually. But
did you see his reaction? When Willis gets the ball, he like drops back and he's trying to wipe his hand off. Oh. And then he's running and he's like spinning the ball around, trying to find a dry spot to grip it.
That's hilarious. But we had 53 running plays. They blocked for 53 running plays. I thought they didn't give up a single sack. It was just a really gutty performance. I will say the one concern I have is that in that heat, I won't get into what it's going to be like in Tennessee. I'll let Jake do that, but I hope they're really recuperating and recovering because that's one hell of a hot game, and they're probably pretty drained. Hopefully, they took some IVs and everything, but what an excellent performance. Still a couple of penalties you don't want to see, a couple illegal man down fields or whatever because they, whatever stupid play call or penalty call. I hate that penalty call. So stupid.
Yeah.
And then a couple holdings and stuff like that. But other than that, really good performance by them.
Andrew asked the question. Don't lie. If you guys are the quarterback, would you prefer the delay a game?
Nope. Just give me the ball.
I don't even know if he noticed that he puked on it the first time.
I think Matt LaFleur talked about it after the game that the ref was like, "Hey, do you want me to pull him out of the game next time?" And LaFleur was like, "Yes."
What would they do in that situation? Would they blow a whistle for an injury timeout? Like, what would they? I don't know.
Probably.
Yeah. I don't think anybody would be like, "Nope, he's puking. That's not injured. That's sickness."
Also, let's talk about the fact that there's no chance that they would have got the play blown dead before it really happened because it's literally he pukes and he snaps the ball. Like the puke hasn't hit the ground yet and he's snapping the ball. So
he should. That was insane when I saw that in the replay.
The focus that he had in that situation is pretty good. Honestly, he had a pretty good game overall too. I want to call it. He had a really good couple combo blocks, and then did you guys see the play where Sean Ryan he blocked 3 people on one play? So that was pretty nice too.
We also
not all at once. It was a triple combo play. Like he got upfield and hit a third person.
That was one of the Jacobs' big runs.
Yep.
Andrew said blow the whistle because he's blowing chunks.
Did anyone see anything about Jordan Morgan's injury? I saw he had a shoulder thing and he went out and he was playing pretty well. And
I haven't seen what it is.
I just saw a shoulder, but I haven't seen anything about longevity or severity.
What he had before then.
Yeah, maybe.
So that's one tough thing about doing the shows on Tuesdays. I don't really have a good injury updates. So.
We'll post them when we get them. So going into the run game. Now we can go to Simon.
We already talked about, Matt LaFleur being an absolute genius. This was, I think, one of his best performances in terms of his plan for the offense. It was damn near executed to perfection. I think I'm pretty sure it was last week I was talking. Everything kind of runs together. Remember last week when I was talking about inside runs versus jet sweeps and how they can complement each other by drawing and moving the linebackers? That is exactly what happened this week. Is you saw fake jet sweeps and the linebackers starting to follow Reed a little bit after his first big run, and then it was lights out. You had the numbers in the box. Josh Jacobs was making them act silly. Josh Jacobs led the way with 32 attempts for 151 yards. Obviously, the downside to his game being the fumble at the goal line. But he was just gashing them in the first half. Bo Melton had 2 carries for 8 yards. Jaden Reed had for 37. Wilson had 9. Malik Willis took a few draws and had a couple scrambles for 41 yards. Marshawn Lloyd saw his first action. He had 6 for 15. And they just absolutely ran it down the throats in the first half of that game. I think the Colts kind of came together at half and came up with a better game plan, making it a little more difficult for the Packers to just run down the field like they did. The Packers had 177 yards after contact this game.
Oh.
That's absolutely insane. And they forced 10 missed tackles. I would say, I think one of the stark differences too is you saw 18 inside zone runs versus 28 gap runs, which is a little unprecedented from what I can think of as far as the difference in balance. But this was an absolutely crazy game to watch them just run all over the Colts. Their run defense is also just bad, and then they lost to Forrest Buckner halfway through that game too. And oh man, it was just such a super fun. At least the first half was absolutely fun to watch. The whole game, but
I gotta add a few things.
Keep the ground game rolling when Love comes back. Will be a very dangerous team.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, Josh Jacobs is on his way. He's having an insane. He has to be leading the league in rushing right now.
He's third.
Really? Behind Dobbins?
J.K.
Dobbins
and the first Packers since Amon Green to have back-to-back or like a first 2 games of this many yards. I don't remember the exact stat. My apologies, but
yeah, he's behind J.K. Dobbins and one other that I can't recall right now.
Yeah, Dobbins is going freaking insane. The guy could barely walk in Baltimore. Now he's doing front flips in the end zone. It's insane. 2 things I want to say. One, first of all, Josh Jacobs' contact balance on Sunday was elite. That's what makes him top 5. His ability to press the hole and then bounce outside and still break a tackle on the juke is insanity. The guy is so strong. He doesn't have the 4.3 speed, but he's still fast enough to hit home runs on you. But he can get those extra 5 yards after the first contact.
He had a nasty play. Oh, sorry. I forgot you had 2 things. My bad.
I don't mean this as a dig, and I know this is going to piss a lot of Packer fans off, but we did replace a running back that everybody loved. I'm sorry. I'm going to say it. We don't win that game if Aaron Jones is our running back with that game plan. We don't.
I've been thinking it since Sunday. I can't tell you the last time Aaron Jones would have had a 32.
Dude, I was going to ask. I was like, I want to know the last time he carried the ball 30
His
times.
career high is 25.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
19.
We do not win that game with Aaron Jones as our running back, dude.
Yeah.
They probably try to
career high of
swing passes and stuff to get him to 30 touches, but highly unlikely.
Yeah. Credit to Andy Herman or whoever I was watching that brought that up this week. Actually, was that the high was 25 for,
and that's him playing with Aaron Rodgers or Jordan Love. That's not him playing with the backup quarterback. So if you're thinking that if Josh Jacobs has 32 carries and if he's playing with Jordan Love or Aaron Rodgers, that he's not also getting at least a couple receptions, you're talking about a potential Josh Jacobs 35 touches game.
So now I'm going to wrap this all up in a one nice little bow for everybody to put some goddamn respect on Goot. We lost Devontae Adams. He built the best, deepest, youngest wide receiver group in the goddamn league. We got rid of Aaron Rodgers. We have a goddamn young franchise quarterback. We replaced Aaron Jones with a top 5 stud at running back. Goot is making all the tough calls, and he's right on all of them. So everybody on the goddamn internet can shut up.
Don't forget about the way McKinney is played and Javon Bullard.
Dude, and he got rid of Barry. He brought in Halfley. Dude, do not go at Goot ever again. Don't do it because you're going to be wrong and he's going to be right.
Yeah, Goody is goated. I found the stat, by the way, that I was looking for. It's Josh Jacobs is the first Packers running back with 100-plus yards from scrimmage in each of the first 2 games of a season since Amon Green, who had 4 straight in 2004.
Oh, what a stud.
Love that. Love that. Okay, so moving on from the running game, looking at how the Packers did on 3rd and 4th down, Jake.
Yeah, so the Packers had more 3rd down conversions than the Colts had 3rd down tries. If you wanted some perspective on how this game went for the Packers. The Colts had 9 tries. The Packers had 10 3rd down conversions, dude.
That's funny.
That's not funny if you're a Colts fan.
Don't.
I'll tell you what, it's a lot more.
Would be scary.
Yeah. Josh Jacobs picked up 3 of them by himself, by the way. They were 4 for 4 on 3rd and short. They had 5 from medium, picked up 1 from 3rd and long, and I think they did a really nice job of mixing the run with the pass. If I had to give credit, there's multiple people I want to give credit to. First of all, Josh Jacobs keeping us on schedule, keeping us in 3rd and short situations. Got to give credit to the O-line. The O-line was absolutely monstrous all day. I was like, oh, dude, I was clapping in my seat, standing up like, let's freaking go, dude. We are just mauling these dudes. When is the last time you walked away from a Packer game and you had absolutely zero doubt in your mind that the Packers were the more physical team on both sides of the football? You tell me. Because this was the first one in a long goddamn time for me. Long time. The last person I want to give credit to is Adam Stedovich. He doesn't get enough credit in my opinion. He did a great job. I mean, just there's so many people we can give credit to, and it's going to sound weird to people for the Packers that won a game by 6 points, 16-10. But this was honestly one of my favorite Packer wins I've seen in a long time. They had to earn this one, and it was a little weird that I was watching the Badgers wear green and gold on Sunday at Lambeau Field, but hey, it is what it is. Thank you for getting that.
I mean, and you know, Jacobs' game could have been even better if it wasn't for that. Unfortunately, he dropped that, fumbled that one ball. But yeah.
Or that holding call where he ran that 20-yarder in, and it was who the heck was called for holding?
That was a really terrible holding call too on Walker.
I think
it was Walker.
That was a horrible call.
Yeah.
Okay. So lastly, to kind of cap this off before we talk about Malik Willis and move forward, looking at the red zone, the Packers, and that's what Brian was just talking about, was the fumble. The first trip to the red zone was the touchdown to Dontavian Wicks. Great throw by Malik Willis. I'm just going to put a pin in that, and we'll talk about Malik Willis individually in just a second. The second trip to the red zone was the Josh Jacobs fumble, which if he holds on to, maybe gets ruled a touchdown on that play. It depends if he crosses the plane, while he's holding onto the ball or not, or they punch it on the next one. If Jacobs doesn't fumble, they're punching it in. Then the third trip to the red zone, they had a series where it was 1 yard run, and then under pressure. That was the only throwaway that Malik Willis had. He was under pressure. He was trying to escape to the outside, and he had to throw it away, and then there ended up being a holding penalty that was declined. So that was their other red zone trip, and they got a field goal out of that one. So they were 1 for 3, probably should have been 2 for 3, and I would be very happy with that. Josh Jacobs has had 3 fumbles in each of the last 2 years, so I'm not going to burn the house down over one that we lost. Obviously, last week he had one as well that Bo Melton recovered, but we've lost 1 fumble from Josh Jacobs in the first 2 games. I'm not gonna burn a bridge and say that we should have kept Aaron Jones, because everything else in the totality of this game, Josh Jacobs absolutely earned his stripes.
And Aaron Jones also fumbled this week.
Touche.
In the red zone.
Oh, even better. Okay. So moving on to Malik Willis specifically. Now, like I just said, with that first trip to the red zone, that throw that he had to Dontavian Wicks, perfect. Absolutely perfect. And again, I co-signed the QB school. He broke it up really well. That his throws towards the sidelines like that, he puts all of the zip on those throws. That wasn't a lucky throw by Malik Willis. That wasn't like the defender was just late on it. That was a great throw to the outside shoulder of Dontavian Wicks to where only he can catch it. So that's a great throw. There were also 2 of those on third downs, 1 to Romeo Doubs and 1 to, again, Dontavian Wicks, where he's making those throws right to the sideline, right past the sticks. And the one that Bryant brought up earlier where Dontavian Wicks had 2 hands on the ball on the sideline and the Colts cornerback just made a great play on it. I strongly believe that the Packers will revisit a play, that same play maybe, or just a variation of it, and it's going to go for a big gain, because that was a good throw and it hit Wicks in the hands. It was just a really smart play by the Colts cornerback to let Watson go and to go make a play on Wicks. That was a really good play on his part. So, Bryant, what did you think on the whole for a Malik Willis game? Andrew said Malik Willis for a 7th-round pick is genius.
Yeah, I thought he had a great game. He could easily been 13 for 14. I don't even recall the incompletion, to be honest. I don't know if it was a throwaway or what it was, but just a great game. He executed the game plan perfectly. Like, you could not have asked for more. And then I thought there was one play where his, the flat was kind of taken away from him. He moved a little bit more and it kind of opened back up. Yeah, hard to argue that after this last week, but he kind of was patient and then opened back up. He hit it. There was another one where he seen that his first read was bad, so that he came back up and threw to Tucker Kraft. I thought that was a great play. The throw to Wicks, the touchdown, like you already talked about, is a perfect spot for that ball. If it's on any inside, it's broken up or even worse. So I thought he played great. The ball, I forgot to give Romeo Doubs credit when we were talking about wide receivers. He absolutely mossed that guy. Like, that's just a great that our wide receivers weren't asked to do much, but they made really big plays when it mattered, and that's what we needed from them, and that's what we'll need again this week. All of their big plays were on third downs, or to move that 40-yard completion to Dobbs is a big third down. You just keep the ball in our possession and keep killing the clock. And for him to, good ball placement by Dobbs, he put it kind of where it was going to be a 50-50 ball, and he trusted Dobbs to win that ball, and Dobbs did. He jumped right over that cornerback and won that ball. So, great game.
Yeah. Simon, what did you think of Malik Willis?
I thought it was he executed the game plan to near perfection. I think he did exactly what the Packers needed him to do to win, which was keep don't turn over the ball and make good decisions. And that's all you can really ask for from a guy that's only been in the building for 3 weeks. And for him, I guess Matt LaFleur was saying that he had some pretty lengthy calls and he handled it really well. So, I mean, what else? I don't know what else you can really ask for from a guy. We take these dubs.
Yeah. Jake, what did you think of Malik Willis?
Yeah, so he was awesome. That pass two passes that stick out to me was the one that we talked about, the Wicks. I mean, that was just the timing, the ball placement. That was just perfection. And then the play to Dobbs. I mean, that was probably my favorite play of the entire game. That got me so hyped. That was a sick play. Now, we've talked in the past about Justin Fields being a great person and not having a lot of success. You can kind of say the same thing about Malik Willis. He's a really, really good person off the field, and he hasn't had a lot of success on the field. And now he plays for the Packers, and he's going to have success because we're a great organization. And we're going to play a team called the Tennessee Titans this week, and their offense is a freaking mess. And if you want to know the biggest difference between the Titans and the Packers and how they handle their organizations, they drafted Malik Willis with a 3rd-round pick. They traded him for a 7th. The Packers are about to turn this 7th-round pick into a 3rd-round pick. So you want to know the difference between the Titans and the Packers? There it is.
Another one is that their head coach doesn't call the quarterback, dumb to the media.
Yeah. Just the overall.
I missed that interview.
Run.
Yeah.
It's not surprising to me that they've been good literally my entire life. I was literally born and the Packers were good. Like, that's just how it worked. We traded for Brett Favre the year I was born. So, I mean, it is.
Yeah. Culture is a real thing.
Yeah.
So just with Malik Willis, he was 10 for 11 on plays when he was kept clean. The only one being the one that the Colts cornerback broke up. 2 for 3 when he was under pressure. The only one that he had was when he was under pressure and he had to throw it away in the red zone. He was 5 for 6 when he was blitzed. Same thing. And he had 0 turnover-worthy plays.
Mm-hmm.
So, like Simon was saying, that's all you can ask for from him. That's all you can ask for from him. Malik Willis did absolutely everything you could expect from a guy, like Simon said, for a guy who's been here for 3 weeks. So, anything else you guys want to say on Malik Willis?
Yeah, I want to talk about one thing that's away from the passing game is we were running a lot of really kind of exotic runs, end arounds, different handoffs and everything. How many times do you see a rookie or a young quarterback turn the wrong way or something and basically have to eat the ball and fall to the ground and get sacked? You didn't see that happen once with Malik Willis. So you can tell he put the work in this week. He learned the playbook. He learned the different ways those runs were going, and he didn't make a mistake once. There's several times where he faked one way and then a complete turnaround and handed it off the other direction. So just really good job. And I'm excited for the fact that he's our backup right now. So.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I'll throw in, too, on the ones where they would fake a handoff, then fake a screen, and then he would turn and throw to Jaden Reed on the other side. So there's 2 plays, 2 play fake and misdirections built into the same play. And yeah, that's a really good point that he didn't make any mistakes on any of those. Also, I thought Malik Willis, even the puke ball situation, I thought he made good choices on when to run. Like, obviously some of the runs were designed runs, but I think he made a couple good choices too when he was going to scramble and then take off.
He had 3 designed runs and 3 scrambles.
Maybe with all those fakes, we'll see. I don't know if you guys remember the play that we kind of copied from San Francisco and we hit it against the Rams for a tight end touchdown. I think it was Musgrave's first touchdown. Maybe we'll see a repeat of that this week 3 here.
Yeah, I would fucking love that. Okay. So going into the preview, Packers are going to Tennessee this week. Now, going back to Bryant, what are you looking for from the defense in Tennessee?
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have to, Willis, their quarterback. Levis is, sorry, his name was escaping me. He can run the ball, but he's had 4 runs to both of the first two games that they played for about 30-something yards, but he has fumbled twice as well. So I think that they, just need to keep an eye on that. But I do expect that they'll be able to rush the passer a little bit more this game. I think they'll, be able to get after him a little bit more. Really, I think they just need to, Pollard is a good running back, but he's not, Taylor or Barkley, who we've played the last couple games. So still keep him in check. But they'll have to. I need the linebackers to play well because both Pollard and Spears can catch the ball out of the backfield and can be explosive out of the backfield. So that's what I'm kind of looking for. Just, I think they can put more pressure on the Titans offense. And I think they'll have a chance to make several turnovers, and I hope they continue that trend.
For sure. Simon, what are you looking for from the Packers defense?
Yeah, I fully expect the edge rushers to really get after the quarterback this week. I think Malik Willis does have. Or Malik Willis. I'm sorry. I blame Brian.
Malik Willis.
Yep. Will Levis. This close. Doesn't have the wheels that Jalen Hurts or Anthony Richardson does. So I'm hoping we blitz a lot more, force him into some really bad decision making, or eat the sacks. And the Titans' offensive line is not that good.
It's pretty bad.
I have stats.
It's not good.
It's pretty bad.
Wait.
Also, I'm just gonna start calling him Mr. Mayo from now on, or Mr. Hellman's, either or.
I'm not gonna. Never mind.
Jake, what are you looking for from the Packers defense? Oh, Andrew's giving score predictions already. Andrew getting ahead of us.
All right. Oh God, I had some on my head. Never
Dang.
Okay, third down defense. So I went off my keys. Packers right now are 5th in the NFL. Now I understand that they've only played 2 games, but they're 5th in the NFL right now in third down defense at 26%. That's elite stuff. You continue to do your thing, continue to keep people in down and distances that are favorable to you, and you should be successful. Now, if you go across and you look at Tennessee in offense on their third down percentage, 30%. I feel pretty good about our third down defense this week. Looking pretty good for our odds.
That's not good.
Pass rush. We're gonna have a bunch of stats on this, I think. So I'm gonna save some stuff, but. The Packers right now are tied for 25th on sacks per game at 1.5. Now, obviously, we discussed the reason why. I would love to get that number by the end of the season to around 2.5, 2.7, 3 per game. The team record for sacks in a season is 55. That's 3.2 per game. That was back in 1952. The Packers had 45 sacks last year as a team, so I definitely think it's possible for them to get around 50 this year. Only 3 people with a sack. We know that's Wyatt, Nixon, and Gary. I expect that number to probably double after this week. I'm just going to leave it at that. In terms of red zone defense, I mean, give up the 1 touchdown at the end of the game to the Colts. The other, they gave up 4 touchdowns and 8 chances, so 50%. The other 3 touchdowns they gave up were to Saquon Barkley in that crazy game and that freaking minefield. So I don't really feel any sort of weight towards the red zone defense. Can't really get a read on them, in my opinion. So we'll see what happens, but I think the defense overall is doing okay.
If you don't allow them in the red zone, then they don't have to play red zone defense.
That's a good point. I don't know why I didn't think of that.
So Jake was kind of mentioning this with the pass rush, that there are statistics here. And there absolutely are. And the ones that I have are looking at the defensive line. So the Jets against the Titans generated 23 pressures. 18 of them came from defensive tackles or defensive ends. The Bears in week 1 against the Titans generated 20 pressures, and 19 of them were by defensive tackles or defensive ends. And both of them put up 3 sacks against the Titans. So I will be looking for the Packers offensive line to continue the trend after playing 2 extremely mobile quarterbacks to be able to keep that pressure number up as far as the Titans have allowed so far. All right, Bryant, what are you looking for from special teams?
Make your kicks. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to get too
True though. True.
I'll get into it a little more later about some stuff I can. You know what, screwed. I'm going to jump ahead and I'm going to say my X factor because it's all special teams. Special teams is my X factor, and this is why. The Titans have allowed 2 blocked punts so far in the season, 1 return for a touchdown. They've allowed a 67-yard kickoff return, and they have allowed 8 punt returns, and that are averaging about 12 yards per return. So,
that's bad.
They're one of the teams in the league that have allowed. I think they've allowed 3 or 4 kickoff returns against. So we might actually see Nixon be able to do something. And then punt returns, they've allowed 8 of them, like I said, and that's a 12-yard average on those punt returns. I think the first team in NFL history to allow a block punt in the first 2 games of the season. So hopefully we can, 3 times the charm. something like that. I read, or maybe it's first time in Titans history, whatever it was. But my X factor for us this week is special teams, because I think we can make some plays in special teams.
Justin said, "Damn, I'm late again. Better late than never, Justin." But what I can tell you is
Welcome.
that every Tuesday, 8:00. Gotta set the clock. Justin said the new dynamic kickoff sucks. Yeah.
It's a little lackluster. I thought it would generate more, but everyone just seems to not care about the extra 5 yards and kicking in the end zone anyways.
Yeah.
Okay, so for on the coaching aspect, the things that I'd like to see more of is potentially some more RPOs that have a run option specifically for Malik Willis. I think there's some opportunity there with the tools, the physical tools that Malik Willis has, to let him run more. And I get that he's been here for 3 weeks, so they might just not be ready to do that yet, or Malik Willis might not be comfortable with it yet because he's still learning the base of the playbook, and they're keeping things simple for him. But I think some of the plays that they ran against the Colts had multiple wrinkles to them. I think they could run some of the same plays with just slight tweaks to them, or just change the progression with which Malik Willis reads the route concepts. So I think they could keep the playbook pretty similar to how it was against the Colts, and just small tweaks here and there that make it look completely different. So that's that. And then with this, maybe not a ton, but maybe just 1 or 2 deep shots. And I think definitely more of those out route plays that I mentioned, with the touchdown to Wicks, the third down to Dobbs, and the third down to Wicks later on in the game. So that's what I'll be looking for from the coaching aspect. But going into the offense, Justin asked, can we please run the Wildcat with Jacobs and Wilson in the backfield, or with our
Please
2 tight ends?
Please no.
I would take away Wilson and put Jaden Reed in the backfield, or maybe even Dontavian Wicks, since he can throw it. We've seen that last year. That could be interesting.
That would be wild. No. And not as clever as that seemed. Okay, Brian, what are you looking for from the
offense? So you kind of touched on it, but I do think we'll see a lot more of the same from the wide receivers. If it is Malik Willis in there, then we'll need them to block a lot. But I do want to see some deep shots. I've seen those crossers that were open stuff. So I do think we'll be able to get some throws open. I think we'll need to, because the Titans defense is much better. They are top 10 against the running game right now. They're only allowing 4.0 yards per average, which ain't good, but it ain't bad either. They've given up 1 rushing touchdown, and they forced 3 fumbles. Simmons in the middle with Day is a pretty formidable duo. So Myers, Ryan, and Elton will have to be on their A game to hopefully hold up against that. The Titans have 1 pass rusher on Harold Landry. He's got 3 or 4 sacks on the season. Probably need to slow him down. That's pretty much it. But hopefully we can get the run game going early and maintain it. But if not, I think we're gonna have to throw a little bit more to get this going. And I hope we scheme up some stuff for Watson, even if we have a pretty conservative game plan. I'd like to see him get some of those end rounds or something like that.
Angel asked, what do you guys think of the Vikings?
I'll tell you what. You show up at 8 p.m. next week, we'll tell you then.
I mean, good for them.
They've been good. Yeah.
Home, but
that's
they're good.
In my opinion.
They're playing better than I thought they'd be.
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll see how Jefferson's leg holds up, but
we'll see if they don't play the Titans, or see if they don't play the 49ers without all of their good players.
Yeah.
Gonna expose Brock Purdy a little bit when he's not playing with Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel.
Weird how that works, huh?
Okay, Simon, what are you looking for from the offense?
I think obviously it depends on who's playing quarterback this week. I don't want to sit here and speculate about Jordan Love's injury. Who really knows where it's at? I've seen 20 different reports, but it sounded like there was some possibility of him playing this last week, but I don't know. Obviously, it just depends on who's playing quarterback. If it's Malik Willis, we're going to probably see a lot of the same stuff. But I like what Bryant said about Christian Watson, getting his speed involved and give him a little bit of maybe throw some drag routes at him where he's able to run away from the defender or something like that. Get him involved a little bit in the game. Otherwise, you're probably looking at the same thing with Jacobs and company and rushing attack, seeing a couple jet sweeps here and there. Keep the linebackers honest. That's basically it. If it is Jordan Love, then obviously we're probably going to see 20, 25 passes this game. I will say Snead's been absolutely eaten up this year, this year so far. And so if we're able to exploit that matchup with competent quarterback play, maybe throw a deep shot to Watson or Dobbs, then I'm all for that too.
Welcome, Matthew.
Matthew said you think Malik Willis is going to have a great game. I think he'll have another solid, smart, within the game plan game.
Yeah.
Look at that. Look at the comments section welcoming the new guys. Love that.
I can't see Angel, but
really
welcome to her as well.
But now I feel good.
Welcome.
If you feel good, you should give him like a big ass contract extension. That's what you should do.
Yeah.
Give him a huge contract extension, like #1 paid player of all time.
Yeah.
They look good. She has room to brag, but yeah. We'll see what happens when they come to Lambeau.
Yeah. Okay. So, Jake, what are you looking for from the offense?
Stay on schedule. That's really all you can ask. Malik Willis is probably going to be the quarterback again. I agree with Simon. I'm not going to speculate on Love's injury. Since they won against the Colts, I think they will let him sit out this week. See if he can, just get him as healthy as humanly possible before you bring him back. If you can continue to win with this game plan, then do it. Just stay on schedule. Give yourself an opportunity to score points and finish in the red zone. That's all you can ask for.
Before I give my thoughts, Matthew asked you guys do a fantasy football show too. We don't, but in the future, if somebody wanted that, when we can do the show for our full-time job, maybe.
Tyler and I have
on
the idea of
leagues that we viewers are able to join, but that's at the beginning of the year. So come back next year, Matt.
Yeah.
Also come back tomorrow.
Yes, that's you.
Part of our shows. Tuesday nights we have the Packers show on its own, and then Wednesdays Jake and I have Brewers, Bucks, and Badgers basketball and football.
Mm-hmm.
So
Bucks are starting up soon too.
What's that?
Bucks are starting up soon too.
Yep, and the Brewers are getting close to the playoffs.
Well,
so that's what we do as well as the Tuesdays. But the Packers get their own show because they are the big kahuna as far as Wisconsin sports are concerned. So for me, looking at the Packers going into the Titans game, as far as the passing game distribution goes, just like with Jordan Love, don't change anything. The using every single player at your disposal, the offense has lots of guys that can make plays, and that includes the running backs not having a single target. So love that. Justin said clock management, don't overcomplicate the offense, don't overuse Jacobs if it's unnecessary. Well, with Marshawn Lloyd going on injured reserve, it's going to be necessary. I would expect Jacobs to have a pretty similar workload, to be honest. Andrew said, speaking of the Brewers, we're down in the 9th. Thoughts and prayers.
It's okay. The Cubs are still losing too, so the magic number is going to go down either way.
Anything can happen. Matthew said, who should I take in fantasy hoops if Giannis is taken? I haven't looked at anything fantasy basketball related, but I'll just throw Luka out there if he's available. Anyways, other than that, looking at the red zone, Tennessee has been pretty stingy in the red zone with their defense. You guys have kind of already touched on it. The Titans have a respectable defense, but looking at the red zone specifically, they've only allowed 33% in the first 2 games to the Bears and the Jets. So my goal for the Packers would be about 50%. My ideal would be 2 for 4. Because I feel if the Packers are able to get 4 red zone attempts and come away with 20 points out of it, I think they'll win.
Playing the Bears probably helps their numbers a little bit, to be honest. So it's a little skewed early in the season.
Right. Okay. Going into the matchup, is there anything else you guys want to say about Malik Willis specifically?
I hope that if he doesn't have as good of a game this last week, that people just don't dump on him because, this is going to be, if he starts, this is a big game for him. This is a team that just traded him. By the time he starts, not even 4 weeks ago, a month ago, he was in this building. They know him well, but he also kind of knows them well. So hopefully he's helping with that. this week, so it's kind of an interesting matchup. I would say that would teeter more in our favor because we're asking Malik Willis to do something completely different than what Tennessee was asking him to do. So, but hopefully if he does struggle a little bit, take it with, a grain of salt, like that he is still learning the system. He is still a backup. This is a tough situation, but I hope he goes in there and he has a little bit of a redemption, and I hope he kind of slaps him in the face.
Yeah. Matthew said if the Jets can take down the Titans, the Packers have a shot, right? That's absolutely. Justin said, if we get ahead, let's run with Wilson or the third string guy, especially if we're up 14 or more in the fourth quarter. If we're talking about being up 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, then yes, I would expect to see a lot of Emmanuel Wilson. But if it's a close game, Jacobs is going to be the guy in there. If it's a 1 score or maybe like a 10-point game, I think Jacobs is definitely going to be the guy that's in there.
Mm-hmm.
So anything else, Malik Willis, the offense as a whole, before we get into injury designations?
No.
All right. Bryant, what are the injury designations we should be watching for in this game?
Yeah, so I haven't really seen anything on the Titans end yet, and maybe I missed it. But for us, I would say it's just Jordan Love and Morgan. We kind of got to see what Morgan's injury was. Obviously, Marshawn Lloyd went on IR. It sounds like that it's poor. I think they probably did that just to get him fully back and like, okay, let's get you healthy, for an ankle injury, and he had the hamstring and everything else. But we'll just have to keep an eye on J Love and Morgan. Like Simon said, we're not going to speculate. I've seen now everyone was reporting Sunday he's going to be back week 5, and then Demoski came out yesterday and said, no, he was actually really close to playing this game. As far as I'm concerned, I would not trust anything that comes out of Diana Rossini's mouth. She's been absolutely complete whiff on anything reported of the Packers, so don't take what she says, too seriously. So we'll see what happens.
I'll throw that out there.
I'll trust Matt LaFleur on this. I know the Packers are, pretty conservative with injuries. I think this win this week's helps us to where, maybe we don't feel as much pressure getting him in there, even if he's close. So we'll keep an eye on that.
Matthew said Quay Walker needs to take down the Titans QB. I'm all in favor of that. Jake, what's the weather going to be like?
Oh, it's going to be a nice day. I'm going to say this first part like my daughter. Sunny day. She likes sunny days. So sunny day, high near 91 degrees with humidity around 50%. Winds southeast at 5 to 10 miles an hour. So it's going to be another scorcher. Good thing the Packers got to plan that this last week so they can not have to go from normal September fallish weather in Wisconsin and then to hot, where they just have back-to-back hot. I think that'll be good for them.
Got to imagine the humidity was higher for the Colts game.
It helps that they sped up the game. I mean, I think the Colts, they were only on they were on the field for like 20 less plays than they were against the Eagles. I think the Colts ran 52 plays or something like that.
All right. Going into matchups to watch. Bryant, what is your matchup to watch for the Packers and Titans?
This is what I wrote. Gary and company versus Latham and Freer. It's time for the pass rushers to wreck shop. I think it's ready. It's time for them to have a coming out party and just destroy the offensive line of the Titans.
Justin said no win for Narvison, and Andrew said you are the next Vince Condella with that nice weather report. So good job, Jake. Compliments on the weather report. Yeah. Simon, what's your matchup to watch?
Mine is the interior offensive line versus Tavondre Sweat and Jeffrey Simmons. It's a formidable duo. And Tavondre Sweat just takes up, I don't remember if you guys remember talking about him in the draft. He's a massive human. He's like 366 pounds of just like human being.
Yeah.
He takes up a lot of space. So opening up those holes in the interior run game.
Jake, what's your matchup?
My matchup is half of what Bryant's was. It's Freer versus Gary. Gary takes 91% of his snaps as the left end. Freer set a Titans record, giving up 13 pressures and 35 pass block attempts last week. So you could say he's on a cold streak, and you can see a guy, Rashawn Gary, that's chomping at the bit to not have to play some prevent style defense, and he's ready to go attack. And Will Levis is going to be the food. So sorry, Will.
Justin said Alexander versus Ridley. That's an interesting one.
Good one.
I went on the coaching aspect of it. I said Jeff Hafley versus Callahan, the Titans coach. Will Levis versus his cholesterol levels. More like Will Levis versus Brian Callahan's cholesterol levels.
Will Levis's coffee versus mayonnaise.
Yeah. Looking at Hafley versus Callahan, Callahan was brought in as an offensive guy from Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And I like the early returns of Hafley's defense, so I'm excited to see what they can do versus a non-running quarterback now that they can kind of turn loose. Okay. Bryant, you already kind of gave yours, but just touch on it again, your X factor.
Yeah, it's special teams with the Titans giving up, 2 block punts over the last 2 weeks, one for a touchdown, and then the return yardage they've given up in the kicking game. I do think that we have a chance to make a few splash plays on special teams this week.
Simon, who's your X factor?
I have the edge rushers in the X factor. I feel like they could go absolutely crazy and just change the tune of this game.
Jake, who's your X factor?
My X factor is going to be Hafley. It's time for him to really cook and have people start thinking about a statue for him 3 games in.
Not premature at all.
No.
Okay. I went with the tight ends. Tucker Kraft doesn't have to do anything except continue to do what he's already been doing. And I think Luke Musgrave, we talked a lot about Tucker Kraft and what he did impacting the run game. But there are some plays where Luke Musgrave was also making some pretty big blocks in the run game, and we know he can catch. So tight ends are the X factors for me if they can help with negating some of those edge rushers. Justin said X factor Tom, not giving up a single pressure or sack. Zach Tom has been fantastic so far.
Jenkins has been good too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Going into score predictions, Bryant, give me your score from the head.
I went to 19-16 Packers.
Probably what the score is going to be. This weirdo is always good at score predictions.
Simon, what's your score prediction from the head?
I got 20-17.
Apham came in at the end just to say that the Vikings blow, LOL. Love that. Sorry, Matthew, I know you said you were new. We do 2 score predictions every week, one from the head, one from the heart. The head being the more analytical one and the heart being the more ideal if everything goes right, optimistic one. So, Jake, what's your score prediction from the head?
I have 2014 Green Bay.
Ooh, I have 20-13.
Ooh.
All right, Bryant, what is your score prediction from the heart?
24-13.
Ooh. Simon, from the heart?
28-13.
Nice. Jake, from the heart?
27-13.
I have 24-12. No touchdown for the Titans, all field goals.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
That would actually be legit, dude. That would be legit as hell.
Justin
Real
said,
quick, one of the kind of it's going to be interesting to see before we move on to Simon says here. It's going to be interesting to see if all this kind of stuff coming out of locker. I feel like the Packers are the team that's playing with no pressure, and the Titans have all the pressure. And then you have their coach calling Will Levis dumb, and then him saying he's an adult and he knows better than turning the ball over in the red zone. No kidding, he probably knows better than that, right? Like the fact that that's all getting out there or whatever, I feel like they're going to come in this game with a lot of pressure on them. And when you have that a lot of pressure, you might try to make plays. And it leads to stupid mistakes. So that I feel like that could be something too.
Justin said his score prediction from the head is 24-10. From the heart is 28-10. So he just thinks the Titans are scoring 10. Andrew way before said 24-6.
6 would be sick.
On the pressure thing, I will say this: we've talked about this with our own teams making mistakes. They don't need you to point it out to them. They know they've made the mistakes. They don't need you piling on and being like, you're so dumb for doing that. You're trash, garbage. Like, they know that. A lot of times, what people, just specifically talking about people, not even just athletes, need is just a moment of grace. But just be like, hey, you know you messed up. I know you messed up. Let's figure out how to make it better next time. And that's why Wisco Fanatics, we do this with the more positive, optimistic perspective. It's just flip the perspective from this is a problem to this is an opportunity. That's all I got to do. So looking at it, Apham asked, how has Ladarius Sneed looked?
Not
Simon
good.
Talking about it, he said he looks good.
No, I said not good.
Not good. Okay.
Yeah, he has the worst. He has the worst coverage grade on their team.
Oh, okay.
Good for us.
Yeah, that's good for us. Yeah, for sure. So, Afam said, I'm not sure he knows better. This is the same guy trying to convince the world to put mayo in their coffee. Yeah, that's a really big touche. So let's go into Simon Says. These are just our bold predictions for this week specifically. Bryant, go first. Offense.
I don't really have an offense one, but I have the Packers score a touchdown in all three phases of the game this week.
Ooh.
All right.
So
Jake, what you got?
partially offense.
Hold on. Simon, you
yeah.
got to give a thumbs up or thumbs down, guy.
You're saying like special teams touchdown, right?
Defense, special teams.
Yeah. All right, I'm for it. Let's go.
If it's going to happen, it's going to be against the Titans.
Yep.
Okay, you
All
guys
right,
ready
Jake.
for this? I'm gonna cook. Malik Willis,
Let him cook.
250 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and he has 2 plays over 50 yards.
No. I would be. There's no way, dude.
What do you mean there's no way? We just ran the
no
ball
way,
50
dude.
times last week and won a football game, dude. Like it was 1954.
Yeah, you think they're all of a sudden going to change a huge game plan for him to have 250 yards?
I'm just saying, if he has 2 giant plays over 50 yards, one could be 70 yards. That could go a long way towards 250. Just saying.
What did he have last game? 160 total.
164, I thought it was.
Yeah, something like that.
What was his longest play? Just saying, a broken tackle with Watson can turn into a 70-yard play.
He had 122 yards.
His longest play was the throw to Dobbs.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was 40 yards.
Yeah.
I don't think there's no way, dude. That'd be crazy.
When it happens.
Let me turn the dial down just a little bit. I have Malik Willis 200 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Okay. See that? I think that's like reasonable.
It's called.
Dude, Malik Willis is going to throw for like 100.
Yeah.
Half. He's going to have 100. He's
All right, I mean, it is really bold. I'll give you that.
Yeah. I tried to go crazy this week, to be honest.
70-yard touchdown on the first.
97-yard touchdown like Dalton did.
He throws for 350 yards. I'm just like, I don't know what I'm talking about anymore.
As the Aaron Rodgers 6 touchdowns in the first half game, and we're all just sort of like throwing our hands
We're
up.
all
Like,
just like,
we don't know
oh,
nothing.
we just like shut off our podcast forever because we don't know anything.
We deleted last
I'll
week.
give you
$100.
$100
Malik
if we
Willis
get a
was going to get the 200
99-yard
yards, and he threw for 350. Last week's episode is now canceled. Andrew said Malik Willis throws for more yards than Aaron Rodgers next week.
Whoa.
Yeah, not worried about it.
Who are the Jets playing? I have no
They play
idea.
the Patriots Thursday night.
Yep, they play tomorrow.
Patriots defense has looked like decent this year.
Yeah, they do. They're playing defense and they run the ball well.
Yeah, that's weird. Justin said 10 different Packer players have a catch this week.
That means every pass catcher on the Packers would have to catch a ball.
I would go with
basically
like 7,
or maybe 8.
But yeah, I mean, you'd have to have all 5 wide receivers.
Yeah.
Both tight ends and all 3 running backs.
Or maybe because Sims doesn't play that many snaps.
Right. True.
They throw a pass to Malik Willis.
That'd be sick, dude. Did you see he had
Willis has to be catching one of his own.
I know.
For this to be true.
Did you see he was in the top 20 for speed this last week? Malik Willis.
Really?
Yeah.
I love that.
He was a top 20 speed ball carrier. I can't remember his specific one. Him and Jaden Reed were both on it. I think Jaden Reed outran him.
Justin,
But he was like 16th or something.
Yeah. Justin, they had 8 in week 1, and week 2 was only 6 because they only threw the ball 14 times.
Yeah. That would be my other issue with it. Would be them just not throwing the ball a lot.
Right. Okay. So defense. Brian, do you have one for defense?
I do. So the Packers have, like we've talked about, 3 sacks on the season. This game, they get 5.
That'd be sick. Yeah. I could see them letting loose a lot now. And like I said, the Titans' offensive line is not that good. I could see us getting 5 sacks.
Play a lot of one-on-one on the wide receivers and trust your DBs. Single high safety with it. Jake, you got one for defense?
Yeah. So I'm going to take a moment real quick here. Week 1, I said 3 turnovers. We had 3 turnovers, right? Week 2, I said 3 turnovers and 5 sacks. I'll take half credit for that one. This week, and I told you last week, I'm going to say 3 turnovers every week till we don't have it. So 3 turnovers and 2 sacks from Kenny and Gary.
2 sacks apiece, or do you mean like, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, I would like. Yeah, I would like to see that. I'm for it.
Need a Kenny Clark game, dude.
That'd be such a good defensive game, dude. Yeah, I'm down.
Let's get it.
Bye, Andrew.
Let's get it.
I just put 3 turnovers by Levis.
Yeah.
So my Simon Says just fit right underneath the shelf underneath Jake's.
Oh, I missed the private. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Oh my god. Mine was McKinney as his 3rd pick in as many games. I would love to see them just throw a bomb and McKinney just pick it again.
That'd be awesome.
Did you see him on the bench? He was like 10. I'm getting 10 picks this year.
Nixon went up to McKinney after he got the pick and said, "Are you going for 10 picks this year?"
Justin said, "I want to see a corner/safety blitz stack."
They have been doing that.
Yeah,
They're mixing them
Nixon
in.
had our first sack of the year.
He did.
They have been doing that. Actually, there's been. I'm pretty sure Quay's blitzed like a decent amount of times this year.
Have you seen the plays where we blitz and then it's like Devontae Wyatt and Carl Brooks?
Yes, I have seen that.
10-yard line.
Kenny Clark dropping back in coverage.
I'm all for it. They got some crazy stuff going
Raji
on. I like it. Yeah, I'm ready for the hip. What is it? The hip thing that Raji did.
Yeah.
I'm ready for it. Someone's got to recreate.
Hopefully they don't hold the
Pelvic
ball up
thrust.
and almost fumble it. Right before
It's got to be TJ Slayton. He's the only one.
Yeah.
TJ Slayton is the guy I was thinking as well. All right, Simon, is that it? You got just that one?
Yep, that was the one.
Justin said Preston to the rescue.
Oh,
I
yeah.
would love to see Preston Smith get a sack this week.
Same. I mean,
All
5
right,
of them to go around, so.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in and adding the comments. We appreciate it. We will be back again next Tuesday, 8 o'clock. Justin, set your watch. And we will be back live next Tuesday again. So go Pack Go, and we will see you guys next week.
Go Pack Go.
Go Pack Go.